Hey y'all, what's going on? It's your girl My Desire, and I'm back with another review from Big Go Bell Media. This time I'm reviewing Evil, which is now streaming on Paramount Plus. This is its third and final season, and I am super excited to be here with you to review it, get your thoughts, your comments, your feelings all over it. So let's begin. This is going to be a full review episode, okay? It's going to be episodes 1 through 4. So I know that you haven't seen all of them as of yet. So pause for the cause and go and watch them and then come back. I'm not going to give you too much, right? Because I want you to come back and watch and tell me what you think, but I'll give you just enough. Now, I'm excited for Evil because it's actually one of my favorite shows. The acting is amazing, the storyline is good, and you get to see it as it transitions from episode to episode. Now, even though each episode has its own identity, so to speak, right? It's its own mission. The mission for the team stays the same, that they investigate, they, report, and they conclude. And so at the beginning of the season, we're talking about continuing from David's his premonition, his visions that he's been having, right? Because the most recent one that he had stated that the world would end in 38 days. So we have to pay attention because 38 is going to be a very important number for this season. So a few things that we notice starting off, right, is that Andy, Kristen's husband, is back. And I'm confused. How did he get back? Where did he come from? Because we know that Leland was holding him hostage. So what has Leland truly done to him? Because Leland is always up to something, right? And as we see in the first couple of, maybe not first couple of minutes, but as we go through the episode, Leland has him under some sort of mind control. He plays a song, and then all of a sudden, Andy knows exactly what to do and where to go. And that's dangerous because now I'm thinking, is he out to hurt Kristen? Which, later on we see not quite so much. But I do think that it's interesting that Leland has decided to play around with Andy, and I think that's kind of, I don't know. It's for me. It's weird that Kristen hasn't noticed that anything is off with him because you can tell he's a little off, but nonetheless. So of course, her asshole mom has been outed, and she's not allowed near her. The kids are by the house, right? Because Kristen now knows that Leland is the one who stole her egg. And not only did he steal it, but he stole it with the help of her mom. So yeah, mom is kinks out of here. Got to go. Now, as we move on, the team has, like we say, an investigation. And this investigation particularly leads them to a generator, which is more like a particle accelerator, I believe, if I'm not wrong. And of course, Ben, the scientist that he is, he wants to figure things out. He wants to go in, and he ends up going in. And now the particle accelerator is on, and Ben gets hit. Now, instantly, we see him see what looks like to be a demon or a spirit of some sort. And he claims that he's fine, but we see further down that he's not, and there's some things that are happening. Then we have David, who is battling his own premonitions and visions, but in the midst of that, he's being confronted by Andy, who thinks that he's sleeping with Kristen and proceeds to verbally attack him. Now, what's funny about this first episode is that we're given so many things because it's like, hey, we're back, right? We have David struggling with his visions and premonitions. We have Ben, pretty much doing his usual same, but now he's starting to see the demons. So this is a different view for him because this is not his bag or his wheelhouse, so to speak. And then we have Kristen, who is so nonchalant, so unbothered that when Leland tells her that he's having her son in 38 days, she doesn't bat an eyelash. Now, remember I said to pay attention to the number 38 because when David freaks out about 38, Kristen then asks, like, what's that about? And then she laughs and says that, she's having a son in 38 days. Not a coincidence because, of course, as Leland said, they will be birthing the antichrist. Just saying it out loud is crazy. Now, I'm going to let you guys know when I'm switching to episodes so that way you don't get too caught off guard. So now I'm rolling into episode 2. In episode 2, we have the whole werewolf situation, right? This is their mission. But things are getting really interesting and tricky because we know that they go out to investigate this robot, but they realize it is now a they went out to investigate the werewolf. They realized now this is a robot, and the robot seems to be racist, and because it attacked David, but it didn't attack anybody else, and then it attacked the nun who happened to be from Senegal. Very interesting stuff. We can see things are starting to happen in this episode because now Kristen is starting to notice Andy's weird behavior. And it's basically saying that we need to take him to the doctor. We need to get him thoroughly checked out. First of all, I didn't even know doctors check between toes. Okay. I'm wondering what doctor does that. Because I've gotten physicals before, but I've never had a doctor check between my toes. Nonetheless, he says that he's not using drugs and all these things, and we see him struggling a bit. And this is after his attack or panic attack, so to speak, inside of the tub at home with the girls, where the girls try to calm him down by singing. Now, quite frankly, this is just weird. Like, I don't want you to sing to me. I'm going through something. Well, it worked, right? So shout outs to the girls for quick thinking and helping their dad out. And it's of course, this is big picture thinking, right? With Andy being under Leland's influence, he's bound to be able to do anything because he's close to the girls and he's close to Kristen. That in itself, I think, is just very, very. And so we figure out that Andy is doing drugs. Of course, we know he's not doing drugs, but Kristen thinks that he's doing drugs. And Leland is doing his usual, which is getting on everybody's nerves. But however, he's really trying to push this narrative that women are not good in the real world, essentially, right? Because she wants to Cheryl wants to do this gig. She wants to be a part of what's happening in the big office or in the big meetings. And they put her on an assignment. Well, Leland puts her on an assignment and tells her that, if she gets this demon under control, then she'll be able to roll with the big boys, which is not true because we see she gets them under control after having a little bit of a hissy fit. And they give her a corner office, which is an office that apparently has a glass ceiling and she has to squat down to get into, which is crazy to me. But I really love this scene because it's almost, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just so interesting that it's a glass ceiling and she's a woman. It's almost saying like this is kind of what corporate America is doing, or has done in the past. We know that corporate America has gotten way better, but yeah, interesting nonetheless. And yeah, so of course, we finally realize that the robot is not racist, right? The robot is religionist. That's not a word. I made it up, y'all. Because he's attacking those who have the Catholic app on their phone. How's that happen? We don't know, but it is definitely happening. So in these first 2 episodes, you can see that things are starting to essentially lose their minds. Not to mention in the first episode, let me go back real quick, that there was some sort of monster that was coming out of that pit, which was the hole that was created during some sort of event at that generator. So all the things that are happening, right? Because the lights started blacking out and they're trying to figure out what's going on. The guy's seeing smoke and all sorts of things. And then he also disappears. We don't know where he went. We see blood, but we don't see him. There's just a lot of unknown, a lot of things that can't be explained. And to me, that stands out because when you're talking about, for me, when you talk about spirituality and things of that nature, there are a lot of things that you just can't explain. For some people who are deeply spiritual and religious, they tend to be able to see things that others cannot. But in this situation, it seems like it's starting to affect people in ways that they didn't really know would happen. And so that causes all these different things to happen. And as we go throughout the episodes, these things are happening in the same vicinity. They're not very far from each other, which means that everything is connected, which in real life, everything really is connected, even though you can't necessarily see it. So, you know, we're just right now, so far with these first two episodes, we see them struggling, trying to figure out why these things are happening the way they're happening, but also trying to figure out how they're connected, if they're connected, and what are they going to do about the 38 days that's left, right? Because this is essentially what's happening. 38 days is around the corner, you know? So as we go into episode 3, um, David is approached again by the Vatican, right? And he goes on a very weird mission, which we realize is not even a mission, it's a test. It's a test to see how far his abilities have gotten and where they're actually going. And so I thought that that was very interesting because, you know, with the Vatican, everything is always so cryptic, so sneaky, right? So sneaky. But we see him go on this mission. He goes talking to these people. Then he has to go look at the ace of spades and he has to go and draw, or the ace of diamonds, actually. Ace of hearts. See, look, my memory is not great. And we realize that he's being able to see things kind of before they happen or while they're happening, right? I don't know if he's had a premonition yet of something that's going to happen, but we do know that he sees things that are happening and have happened. So he's also getting a new handler, so to speak, right? Because Father Laurent has decided that he can no longer do what's required of him. And this is also while they're on a mission for possessed pork. Now, I don't know about y'all. I mean, I don't eat bacon, right? So, but possessed pork is crazy. Like, people going crazy after eating bacon is wild. This in itself was probably the funny episode for me, just because you see David really getting frustrated and he's really starting to connect or sync with the premonitions or the people that he's kind of embodying almost, you know, or the people whose visions he sees. He's getting angry. And as a priest, obviously, you're not supposed to get angry, or supposed to be able to deal with your anger in a different kind of way. And so they go on another mission, you know, they're doing the possessed port, they're figuring out what's happening. And we realize Leland has yet another spy, and the spy is the therapist assistant, which is crazy to me because how dare you? I'm about sick and tired of Leland because he just has people, he has implants everywhere. He just won't let these people be. I can't even imagine how miserable this family has been, you know, just with the little things that he's done. And then, well, not little, actually big things, right? He's just a nuisance, and I'm ready to see him get taken down, quite frankly. So I'm very interested to see like where all this is gonna go by the time we get to the finale episode. But we have them, you know, basically she's snitching to say to the therapist throughout the little, what's this thing called? Okay. Yeah, that thing. The record player. There we go. I found it. And you know, saying basically that he needs to make a move. And in the midst of all this, Cheryl is hosting this meeting with some of the women at the company because she wants to take over. She wants to kick Leland out because he's trying to take her daughter, which I don't believe. I don't believe that for one minute. I feel like she's lying and she just wants to take over because she wants to take over. Nonetheless, old girl's water breaks, right, who's carrying the antichrist, and they get her to the hospital and everything like that, give her something to ease the pain and to relax her, and realize that she overhears them saying they're gonna kill her and feed her to the baby. And so she decides to call Kristen. Now, amidst all of this, um, the team is still at the field trying to figure out what's going on with the damn pigs. Come to find out that they have been feeding the pigs, old pigs, demonic pigs, because they said that the pigs were bad, and the trio of God put the evil spirits in those pigs because it had nowhere else to go. First of all, I'm not gonna lie, these three girls look like Buffy the Vampire Slayer times three. That's literally what they look like. They look like they can't be taken seriously, and they look like they belong on Degrassi somewhere. Nonetheless, I guess they successfully took the demon out of said kid and put it into the pigs, and they told them to kill the pigs and that's it, be done with them. However, they not only killed the pigs, but they killed the pigs and fed the pigs to the other pigs. And now all the pigs is crazy. So their bacon really is possessed. It's possessed pork, which I thought was just hilarious. But yeah, so I'm just thinking to myself, they probably selling that pork, but I bet you none of them are eating it, right? So this is where we find the connection. We realize that this is not far from where they went with the to find the quote unquote werewolves, and that also the generator is not far from there either. So everything, like I said earlier, is really in the loop, in the vicinity. I think for me, I thought that there was a setup here happening here, that they knew that the girl was going to call Kristen and that she was going to bond with the baby. But I thought that she was going to get her to feed the baby, like her actual milk. Happy that did not happen, but interested to see what is going to happen, quite frankly. So let's keep an eye on that, right? Because the baby is here, as we see now, moving into episode 4. The baby is here, and it's driving Leland crazy. And now all of a sudden he, is calling Cheryl. He needs a favor to come and help him, right? And so she makes a bargain per usual because Cheryl doesn't do anything for free. Meanwhile, Ben is still battling with his jinn, as we've seen in the previous episodes. He's bought color maps and black and white spirals, trying to figure out where he can see the jinn, if the jinn really exists, if it's part of his imagination. Why can he hear the voice, but when he closes his eyes in a certain angle, he can't see the jinn. And so he's really going through it right now. Now, in this particular episode 4, which is interesting to me, is where they meet somebody who is losing their words, right? And like I said, Leland has been playing the long game, so we don't know if this is part of his plan or whatnot. But as he's dealing with the antichrist who can't stop crying, he realizes, well, he doesn't realize, David and them realize that this guy is like losing his language. He can't really speak. However, let's talk about somebody who doesn't get enough recognition in here, right? For me, and I cannot remember her name, but I want to say it's Sister Andrea. Yep, Sister Andrea. She is clutch in this entire series. She's the one who is such a dedicated believer that she can see things that even Father can't see. Okay, to me that's a big freaking deal. And so she sees this demon sitting over there, and she can't quite figure out what's happening. But then she encounters it in the church. He's rubbing up on everything, licking on everything gross, and his breath smells. And she realizes that when she talks, he's essentially like sucking her air, sucking her words out. And every time that he takes words, he gets bigger. Now, by this time, like I said, we've seen David frustrated in the previous episode. He even cursed, which is not like him. But their fight sister is fighting the demon that David can't even see, right? He's not even aware enough to see this demon. And so not only does it encounter the man where, he's starting to freak out. Kristen tries to do this test with him and then he tries to attack her and now he has to be taken out of there. But now everybody is starting to lose their word because this demon is literally sitting around stealing words from them. And we see him getting big and ugly and disgusting, quite frankly. But this episode is where things really take a turn because they're trying to figure out their words, they're losing their thoughts. Somehow Ben ends up sleeping with Caitlin, which is really random. He says he didn't call her, says that maybe the jinn called her. Nonetheless, they still have sex, right? So hey, it is what it is. Sister sees another demon. This demon happens to be inside of father. She notices that father's clothes have been eaten through, which again, she can only see. She confronts the demon, right, with some marshmallows, and she pulls them out of father and realizes that he's the grief demon. And because father hasn't really talked about the murder of Father McCann, he's been holding it in, and the grief monster has been like just having at it with him. And so I thought that was a very interesting and literal, because the grief monster really does hold on to you. And as somebody who's recently lost a loved one, if you don't talk about it, if you don't like let people know that you're going through that, you will essentially kind of just be like father, like you're just sleeping all the time, you're irritated, and you're just letting the grief monster eat on you. So very interesting. Did like this episode. Now we see that Leland tells Andy this is his last mission, right? He calls the phone, plays a song, Andy shows up. Leland tells him like, hey, this is your last mission. You're going to inject your daughter with this. You're going to put her to sleep with this. She's going to go on a cardiac arrest and the rest will be taken care of. And we see him cry, even though under Leland control, but he says, okay. And then when the time comes, he actually injects himself instead. And so as this is happening, they are still at the church dealing with the other demons. And so sister captures the demon, the grief demon, and he's in the closet. But then the big demon is sitting over there at the exorcism, just chilling, getting fat, getting gross, getting nasty, and he eventually tries to outrun sister and gets stuck in the doorway, and she ends up killing him, and everybody ends up getting their words back. Again, sister is just, she's the real MVP. So yeah, shout out to Sister Andrea for sure. These episodes have been very interesting. You can really put and pay attention to them and see how they're intertwined, see how they're connecting. And for me, this episode was really the best because it shows you how things are starting to really come together to a head. Andy realizes he's a danger to the girls, and Kristen decides that he's gonna, admit himself to a psychiatric ward, which I'm interested to see how this is gonna go and if Leland's gonna let him just go. The baby's driving Leland crazy, but him realizing now that he can use Kristen's voice to soothe, which is how they knew to kill Lexi, because he heard her therapist tapes, because he got the therapist tapes from the insider who, like it's just so many pieces to this that you're like, how does he even know to put these things in place? But I'm just ready for these people to get caught. I'm so ready for these people to get caught because, quite frankly, Leland has got to go. So I have no idea what's left, right? I have no idea what's to come. But I tell you what, I'm very excited. If you're a fan of Evil, let me know. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if I missed something, if there's something that you saw that I didn't see, right? Because there's a lot to soak up in all 4 of these episodes, but I think it's totally worth it. And I might go back and just watch it again. But let me know what you think. Let me know what, who's your favorite, who's your least favorite, who do you want to see what happened to, and how do you think that the season is going to end based on what you've seen so far. Again, if you haven't seen episodes 1 through 4, don't come on here, okay? Go see episodes 1 through 2, 3 through 4, and then come back. All right. And until next time, I'll see you. Peace.